in the live stream, you said that modern Islamist movements use migration to achieve Islam, but often when I often people say that it's just a conspiracy theory. So how would you respond to the accusation that it's just a conspiracy theory?
Well, if you notice that in the show, what I said is that there's no conspiracy. Like there is no, this is organically happening. Like when I so I do agree that if you think that this is a planned attempt to make this happen, that is a, by the way, conspiracy theory, um you know not all conspiracy theories are wrong, by the way, right? So baseless conspiracy theories, um this cannot even be a baseless conspiracy theory, because the way I've described it, there was nobody conspiring to do this. Like I said, the way I explain it is that this is something that is happening organically without anybody planning it. Like so, usually systems um work in a way as like as if they have their mind of their own. They act like self-aware. You know what I mean? Like the markets, like political movements, the way they grow, the way they survive. It's just basically the survival of the strongest meme. It's like a Darwinian model, and the strongest memes survive. So when I was talking about that, in the modern political movements, um, the new model, it's being using migration to come to Europe. I wasn't suggesting that they gathered around with each other in a dark room and they were like, okay, listen guys, this is what we're going to do to make this happen. It's just, how in the evolution, like in biological evolution, many things look designed, even though they're not. Many, because like an eye, like the brain, like ears, many things. It looks like there was a mind behind it, designing it, because it looks like it has a purpose, right? So, in the same sense, through this is evolution by the evolution of the genes, evolution through genes. We also have evolution through memes, right? Many things happen within society that look like there was a conscious attempt to make it happen, but it's just just the natural selection, and whatever survives because it worked. And it just, if you look at it, it looks like somebody planned it, even though nobody planned it. Deborah, you raised your hand.
Yes, yes, I did. Some of it may be
Oh,
organic, but
I'm
some
not
of it
hearing
really,
Deborah. Do you guys hear Deborah?
yeah.
Yamiel, did I answer your question? Oh, you
So,
guys
Yes,
are hearing
yes,
Deborah?
thank you.
Oh, go.
some of it may be
Oh,
organic, but a lot of it is actually is. I mean, I don't want to say conspiracy, but the FBI was wiretapping the Muslim Brotherhood, which used to be allowed to operate in the United States, and they laid out. Oh, this is like 20 years ago. Exactly how they would bring people in, through saying that, oh, they're refugees, they need asylum into the United States, and then take over civic, like governance, local governance, like this is happening in Hamtramck, Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, Minnesota, and now in New York City. It There was a plan. It was delineated. It was written out. Some of the information is available in, if you look for the transcripts of the Holy Land Fund trial. So
right.
so I mean, it's documented. It's not just chattering heads saying, "Oh, they're doing this, they're doing that." So there was a plan. I'm not saying that everybody is part of the Muslim Brotherhood and they're all working together, but there was a concerted effort, and that involved Turkey and Qatar as well doing some of the funding. So half
Right.
organic, half organized.
Okay, so well, I agree with you that those exist. I just don't think it's half half. I think the volume of the volume in which this is happening organically is so much more than the ones that are planned, and just how successful this is, the organic ones are, makes some people notice, and therefore trying to plan some of this, like given how naturally so much of it is happening. Obviously some people in some organizations are going like, oh my god, this is this is working out so well, so we should like do more of this. So of course some people will try to copy or and like cat be like act like a catalyst to whatever is happening organically. But I'm just thinking the organic version of it is much, it's just happening so much more than the planned one.
Before October 23, 2023, I might have agreed with you, but after
Mm.
seeing all the protests that snapped up while they were still trying to scour out the Nukhba terrorists from Otafaza, no, there's definitely a lot of planning going on with, I hate to use the word cells planted amongst in Europe, the United States, Canada, all throughout the Anglosphere, uh, to
Yep.
to and they activated them on October 8th.
Yeah, I don't think what you're saying is wrong, but I also don't think that it negates what I'm saying. Like
No, no,
even if you have
it's a combo.
yeah, no, I think yeah, I think what you're saying is correct, but even if you have many planned, organized structures like that in place, it will still not be able to do the volume of what's happening organically. Like, so what you're saying though is correct. I agree with that. Yeah.
It's a cultural
I
thing.
see.
It's
Oh,
a broad-based
yeah, go on.
cultural thing. Everybody has the right. Everybody has the same idea. It's in the text. It's in the Quran. The Quran itself talks about this. Yeah, it's it's a bunch of people who have the same idea, so it is organic. But you also have a lot of other people who are a bit more organized than others. It's a mix of things.
Yeah. I mean, even if it wasn't planned, the fact that it's working, makes a lot of people want to jump on the trend anyways. You know, they're like, oh my, like this is good. Like, okay, it's right. So they want to take advantage of it. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, the result is the same, right? Whether it's planned or organic. Um, it, you're getting screwed over it. But I see you also raised your hand. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, because I switched to my computer thinking maybe it would be
This is
better. Okay, so I
this is
have to.
great audio.
Okay,
Fantastic.
great.
Dajjal, can you also do that something like that? Because look at Asi's audio is now great. Go on, As.
Okay, so I have 2 points that just jumped to mind after listening here, and I don't think that it's. I think that it's by design, and I don't think that it's accident that most of the immigrants that are flooding Europe right now are coming. Nobody asks where they're coming. Actually, they're coming from Turkey. Okay, because and the European Union knows this. The European Union pays a very hefty price every year to Erdogan to take care of these migrants that most of them came from Syria in the last civil war over there, because they know that he's nuts, and they know that they can't provide them, and they know that he will that he will treat them like dirt, and and they pay him a lot, and but he's flooding them anyway, and whenever he doesn't get what he wants. And right now they are dealing with Israel, quote unquote, war crimes, my ass. But the reality on the ground is that the UN is very corrupt, and it has and contribute a lot to this migrant crisis. This is my first point. My second point is that I agree with Dajjal that the Quran talks about this, but it's the my point is that the Muslim Brotherhood, what they are doing is they are tapping into the Quran that they know that may be used as a catalyst when you are talking about revolutions and conflicts, but they are only tapping into a working system. But it's not but I don't think that it's what you see right now. It's because of the Quran. Muslim Brotherhood, they made up in a very violent Islam roughly 100 years ago that is more violent than other Islams, quote unquote. So yeah.
I don't know if yeah, I mean, I agree with you that Erdogan does that, tries to punish Europe when it doesn't get its way, by flooding Europe with migrants. I know that's his strategy. I don't know if that is for the Islamic. That's more of a self-serving interest for Turkey agenda rather than an Islamic agenda, right? Like I don't think.
Maybe, but
Yeah, yeah,
Erdogan, but we know that Erdogan is an Ikhwan. We know that.
yes,
He grew up in
yes,
the Muslim Brotherhood. He was developed himself in the through the Muslim Brotherhood. It's not he's not coming from a social democrat background.
yes, true. But he has a more of a Turkish empire in mind than an Islamic. He doesn't have the idea of bringing in the caliphate back and like destroying the like Western imperial, like Western order. Like he's not set on that. He just wants to stay in power. He wants to get his way. He's more power driven. Islam is like mostly an excuse to drive support for some of his things. You know, he talks like I don't know, like I don't know if he fits the. He's just basically punishing the West with like threatening the West with migrants to get his way. It's not like, oh, we're going to invade the West and destroy the Western powers. Like he has no interest in, for example, destroying the United States. He has interest in his own area. He has imperial agendas in his own area, but he's not trying to destroy the world order as it is. Um, so I don't know if he fits that model as much
But he wants to
as.
restore the Ottoman Empire, and the Ottoman Empire was the last caliphate.
Yeah, I know, but
And if you
that's
if you destabilize the West, so maybe it's easier to go back to a caliphate.
Are you sure he doesn't want to Islamize Europe? Like, isn't he funding like mosques to like help Islamize Europe?
yep. Yeah, but I think like it's more self-interest. Like this is just a lever to pull on rather than for the glory of Islam. You know what I mean? It's more like I will like this is more self-interest motivated based on self-interest and remaining in power rather than like a selfless agenda to just serve Islam. And that's I
How
mean maybe I'm wrong, but
how
that's
is
what
it
I
in
get from him.
how is it in self-interest to conquer Yerushalayim, which he has threatened to do, which he's no promised to do over and over? That we're going to liberate Al Quds, which is basically to conquer
Oh,
Yerushalayim.
yeah, first of all, because he never is going to do it. One, two, because he needs support from Islamists in the region and in Turkey. Like that's his base. He needs to basically, and a lot of Islamists hate him for that because they think like he's just all talk and no action. Like he trades so much with Israel. Like you're like, what do you mean talking? Like a lot of Islamists hate him because like you can't even stop trading with Israel, and you're talking about attacking Israel and invading Jerusalem. A lot of Islamists consider this to all be fake, and honestly, the Islamists are right about that.
And
That
he
it's all
doesn't
fake.
feel, and
Yeah.
he doesn't like Arabs, right? There's like this Turkish thing about feeling like they're, I think, more than Arabs or above or something. But I want to say one
Yeah.
thing. I feel a little like a bit cold, so I won't be able to
Oh.
have my voice for too long, I think. Sorry. But
Oh.
yeah, sorry, I
Thank you.
tried to
It's okay.
mute it,
No, it's
but
okay.
okay, never
No
mind.
worries. Get better.
There is a thing. I agree with you, Armin. The the fact that he can have like this thing that he will say, okay, if you will not do this and this and give me money and give me this to Europe, I can always like let them move. Like I won't be able to stop all the immigrants. Like I don't want to do this, but you have to give me money. Egypt does this like decades with the U.S. They are one moment move. Okay, sorry, my cats. Egypt does it for years. It's like blackmailing the U.S. because the
Hmm.
U.S. holds it like together, the economy of Egypt. Um, it's like it's
Yeah.
it's kind of like, um, I will blackmail you, but don't make me angry, so we won't get there. Of course, it's interest.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's always like within the Islamic world, we have to always look at the different motivations, and we have to always try to separate the people who use Islam for a different agenda and the people who Islam is the agenda. Okay, and they sometimes behave very similarly, and sometimes they move in the same direction, but at some key points, all of a sudden they differ, and there are key points that sometimes they turn against each other,
yeah. And
right?
you know what's the
But
beauty in all of this? It can change in a day.
yeah, yeah. But it's really important to recognize that
True.
there's a difference between people who are
I
doing this
mean,
for the glory of Islam and the people who are using Islam for something else. Go on, Samantha.
I don't think it changes quite in a day. I think because, like, the person who's just doing it for the glory of Islam, like, for they can obviously leave Islam and, like, no longer believe in the glory of Islam, but I don't think that kind of change just happens in a day. I think, like, it takes, like, a
Not
long
in one
period of time, or
person.
if it happens in a shorter
Wait,
period of time,
let Samantha
it's still
finish.
not gonna happen in a
Yes.
day, and it takes, like, some sort of trauma or something that, like, they have to reflect on, and, and same thing with vice versa. Like, I don't think it's like one day you totally don't believe in that shit, and then the next day it's like, "No, I'm a jihadi." I think it's a process of, like, indoctrination.
Right.
That's not
This is
necessarily what I said. I meant like a situation in countries can change in a day. It can happen like when something big happens, or when a leader is replaced. It Yeah, it can change in a day. One faction one becomes stronger, and yeah, that's what I meant.
and by the way, this is what's happening in Iran right now. The internal conflict could be um, somewhat, if you want a simple summary of it, is right now within the Islamic Republic, the highest level within the Islamic Republic, the fight is between the pragmatic Islamists and the more um, ideological Islamists, right? So it's basically right now at the highest of levels of power in the Islamic Republic. There is an internal division between the people who we consider people who are using Islam to gain power and people who are using power to defend Islam. But that's actually that's a good summary. People who are using Islam to gain power and people who are using power to to for the support of Islam. And basically, there are people who want to spend Iran to build the army of the Mahdi, and that's their entire focus. So the Mahdi, when he comes
Mm.
eventually, he needs an army, he needs a base of operation, he needs resources,
Oh, it's
and
official.
yeah,
It's an official thing. You have to build an army, like the.
yeah, that's their understanding. Yes,
Oh,
that
okay.
they literally think that they are going to pass the flag of the Islamic Republic as it is right now to the Mahdi.
And
That's what they think they're going to
sorry
do.
to cut you off
Yeah.
this point.
No, it's
When
okay.
will he come? What do they have to do so he will come? When they have an army, or is it something else?
Well, I mean, there's like I could talk about this for hours on the signs of the Mahdi to come. There's also a lot of internal divisions about that. Some
Yeah.
people say like you shouldn't even say look at the signs because only God knows. They say Allahu alam,
No,
so
but
only
there's no
God
like
knows.
deeds that they need to do before he can come, like b- build something or be some sort of a
No, they,
situation. No, right?
I mean, there's the signs of the end of times, basically, just like every religion that has end of times belief. There's a lot of obsession over looking at the signs that we're close to the end of times. But there's a huge number of people who believe that we're living during those times,
Yeah,
and
that's endless.
they are
Yeah.
yeah, that they think that they're going to see it in their lifetime. And a lot of people think that what's happening in Iran right now is a sign of end of times. So they're very excited. They saw Israel's attack as one of the signs of end of times, right? And by the
Why?
way, there's a deep. because they
That's
think
what I'm
that
asking. Just let me I want to make my question clear. I'm not asking if there are signs. I know every religion, I think, has signs and they think they are supposed to be signs and toasters and like toasts with faces in them. I'm talking about like we have to do something like the hadith in the Sunni world that with the garga tree, like some term you have to do this unless you know.
no, those are not things you do to make the end of times comes. God, it's not in the control of Muslims when the end of time happens. Those are the things that will happen itself naturally
Yeah,
uh, by God, because we're getting close to, like, God will make it happen. It's not Muslims who are making it happen, right? Um,
interesting.
but yes, but yeah. So it's very strange because they tell us as children that the Mahdi has so many powers. He has superpowers. He could, with one sword, he could like take out armies with just one swing of a sword. And I'm like, then what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, if he could destroy like seven nation armies with just one swing of a sword, then why the fuck does he need you guys? Like, why are you spending all the country's resources to prepare all this shit for him? He's
That's
going to be
exactly
fine.
why I asked. That's exactly why I
Yeah.
asked because I said maybe they have some theology behind it. Like the Christian sects that they say they have like they have to do something in Israel in order to bring with like those levels to the second coming. We have similar things in Judaism, but I'm not sure. So yeah, maybe I can
Right.
understand more the IRGC. I guess not.
Yeah, I don't think the IRGC leaders are that crazy, honestly. I
No,
think
no,
they
it
are
doesn't have to be
using, yeah.
crazy.
No, I'm not responding to what you're saying. I'm just like adding that, right?
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
just want I'm just saying that um I think the IRGC, the main people who are controlling things, I think they're more pragmatic than this. And I think they're more motivated by self-interest rather than ideological. But what they have done in the past 40 years in Iran is that they have figured out how to use religion as a way to gain a lot of support from crazy people. So it's more like a lot of people look at the mullahs and they look at the IRGC and think like these are a whole bunch of crazy people. And honestly, if they were that crazy, they wouldn't be able to stay in power for this long.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, so it's more that they use crazy people. It's not that they are crazy. It's they just like they have figured out how to use crazy, not to be
Okay, is
crazy.
Khamenei is he like a believer or
Yeah,
is he new?
honestly, we have like this is a very good question, and honestly, this is something that within the on our Persian channel we constantly like disagree
Hmm.
on, because he comes on and he gives speeches that are absolutely ridiculous, and we always like, is he this retarded? Okay, or like he can't like, or is he like playing them, right? And
Or
honest,
is
I'm
he
on the
being
camp.
used?
Yeah, that I'm on the camp that he's being used by the IRGC
Hmm.
and he's actually retarded. And the main people who control that are in control are, this is just their Khamenei is just their puppet. All right,
What
but
about
a lot of
Khomeini, his
people,
predecessor?
Khomeini was a mix. Khomeini believes. I mean, it's just interesting because here's the thing. Here's actually that's a very good question as well, because I remember there was a point in Khomeini's history that he was flirting. He seemed like he was flirting with the idea of introducing himself as the Mahdi.
Hmm.
Um,
So he could have
so
believed he
and
was
then
Mufti.
yeah, but then they gave up on that and they just make them the representative of Mehdi who is in direct communication with him. By the way, this is another thing. The Khamenei supporters do believe that both Khomeini and Khamenei are directly communicating with the Mehdi. Like they're actually in touch. They're talking,
Which is
right?
actually a sign that both of them do not have to be actually real believers for that.
Yeah, I honestly think Khamenei is actually a true believer. With Khomeini, I think he was also a true believer, but he was also pretty. I don't know. I
It
think he
seems
was.
to me a lot like communism, you know, that you don't necessarily need to believe in the system, but you need to work in the system.
Or
Yes,
psychopath.
yes, yes. Right.
It can be psychopaths that believe, but they believe it in a self-centered way. They believe they have a very important part. Allah, yeah, something there. You need to say it, but they really believe their own shit.
So I think like most of them, even the pragmatic ones, believe the core ideology. Like they believe Allah and Muhammad and the Quran. Like it's not like they're atheists, right? But
Did I just hear puppy?
there are, huh?
Puppy? Did I hear someone's puppy?
Yeah,
Oh,
Dajjal. It was Dajjal. Yeah, but I was talking.
Are you
Okay,
gonna bring puppy
so
on stage? Bring puppy on? Puppy?
did me
My God,
Yeah.
kill me.
What
or
what do you want to see the dog? I'd rather see the cat.
okay? What?
Dream?
Okay, okay, okay. Later maybe. Okay, but let me. I was saying something. What was I saying?
A dog.
Distracted.
Puppy.
Distracted me with the
More
puppy dog.
puppy?
What was I saying? Oh, okay. Is oh yeah, but I think they do believe in the core ideology, but they might not believe in the additional stuff. Like for example, the Muslims who think Khamenei is cuckoo, they think he's cuckoo because he thinks he's talking to the Mehdi. He thinks that he's God's representation on earth. Like he's not. They don't think he's crazy because he believes in God and Islam. They also believe in God and Islam, but they might think he's cuckoo for thinking that they won the war, the 12-day war against Israel. That he thinks that they're doing Iran like Iran is doing very well under their rule. That everything is getting better. The economy is fine. They could destroy Israel if they wanted to. Like this stuff, they find like okay, this is too far. This is too much for us even to believe in, right? Because by the way, Khamenei just came out last year and he said something that was absolute heresy. I could like if anybody else in Iran said that they should probably be executed for that
Shia,
because it
heresy in Shia. I don't believe you. That's
no that this is
sarcasm.
not
Sorry.
this yeah no this is not even Shia. This is not Sunni, not Shia. This is not in line with anything that either Sunnis or Shias believe in.
What
This
did
is
he say?
more this is more Sufi maybe even. He said that um there was when he went to Qasim Soleimani's house to meet his family after he died, when he was speaking, he was basically telling this to a crowd that he was giving his memory about this incident that he of himself in Qasim Soleimani's house. He said, when I was speaking, all of a sudden I noticed that God is using my tongue to speak. So the words that were coming out of my mouth was not words that I was saying. Uh, this was God speaking, and my mouth and my tongue was moving, but this was not me speaking. God was just using my mouth to speak. And he said that.
And he
And
meant it
this
like
is
literally, not metaphorically. God
no,
used me.
he's meant it
Oh my
literally. Yeah, he
God,
was talking literally. Yeah.
that's crazy.
And the reason why
Okay,
that's in yeah,
so
yeah.
if the current supreme leader of Iran is basically Forrest Gump in a dress, who
Hmm?
calls the shots?
IRGC right now, I think. Yeah.
There is no like somebody that is
No,
defined.
it's a system. It's more of a system than an
Mhm.
individual. That's why it's so dangerous because it's harder to take down a system than an
It's not
individual. If
easy
it's an
to build a
individual,
system which works like this. It
yeah,
has
but
to
it's
be
also hard to
sophisticated.
get rid of. It's also harder to get rid of a system than an individual. If it's an individual, you just take the individual out and then you're free. A system that is so ingrained within the economy is so harder to get rid of.
And
Um, I,
you said
hold on.
that it's like
Let,
decentralized in a way.
yeah, but let me actually talk about. Let me go back to Khamenei because this is absolute blasphemy. Like within Islam, not just Sunni Islam, within Shia Islam, that is deserving of the capital punishment for anybody to say like that. This is no, this is something that not even prophets, like not even have made such a claim. Like this is beyond receiving a revelation from God, right? So think about like based by saying that he has made himself greater than Muhammad, because when Muhammad received the revelation, other than one incident, he never actually directly communicated with God. Like there was, he never actually. Hold on, Musa, do you want me to? Okay, here. He never once
Really? That's crazy.
actually. Yeah, so
I
Muhammad
didn't even
only
know
went
that.
to. Yeah, which part did you need to know?
I had no idea that, like, you guys believe that Muhammad never, like, directly talked to God.
Yeah, Gabriel was the intermediary. Only one time Muhammad met directly with God, but never else.
When?
When he went into the heavens, he went to Mi'raj, when he went to Jerusalem and then went up into the heavens on the winged horse.
Plus, Armin, also Muhammad was supposed to be the last prophet, wasn't he?
Yeah, and this is basically, this is like a claim of prophethood and something more. I mean, I don't know what you define. This
More.
is a
It's
new
more than
thing.
prophethood. It's more.
This more
He
than
claims to be
prophethood.
God. He's
But
claiming
I thought
an
that, you know,
incarnation.
But is the Mufti supposed to be a prophet?
oh shit.
What? Who?
Is the
Mahdi.
Mufti supposed to be a prophet?
You just
No, he's an
combined.
imam. No, no,
You
no,
just
no.
combined Mufti and Mahdi, I think.
Yeah, she did.
Ah,
Mm,
It's funny. It's funny.
Oh,
Mufti.
okay,
Mehdi.
hold on, guys. Yeah, go on, Deborah, go on.
Oh, I thought that the Gabriel was actually Dihya Kalbi, because they said when you know that when they saw somebody coming out of Muhammad's tent that looked like Dihya Kalbi was actually Gabriel. Gabriel.
Wait, who?
No,
Dihya Kalbi.
I know. He said, "Don't come because Gabriel is speaking to me now," and there's like this
Oh,
thing about DKL Kalbi. But Armin, you started to say something. Me or someone else cut you off. Jewish Samantha asked you something about the Mahdi, and I want to hear your answer. What is it supposed to be?
yes. All right. So this is actually very interesting. This is a very good question. So here's how it works. Okay. So the the reason why there's a reason, there's a political reason for why the Quran made Muhammad the Khatam al Anbiya, which is the last of prophets. Okay, because all of these stories, by the way, guys, are made up. Most of it is made up. Muhammad didn't do most of these things. Muhammad's name was not even Muhammad, to be honest, right? And this is mostly a made up character, and all of these stories are made up. And but the fact his stories are made up for political reasons. Every single story that you read about Muhammad, you have to ask yourself, what political purpose did this serve to either the Umayyad or the Abbasid dynasty, right? So think about this: the Quran, the verse in the Quran that introduces Muhammad as the Khatam al Anbiya, which is the last prophet, it comes, one of them at least comes after a story of mentioning that Zayd, one of the few people mentioned by name in the Quran, is not Muhammad's son, right? It tells a story. This is actually fascinating. There's a story of Zayd and Zainab. Okay, Zayd was Muhammad's adopted son, and he was married to this woman called Zainab. And the Quran tells a story of one day Muhammad coming to meet Zayd, and Zayd was not there, and he sees Zainab, and she was not fully covered, so Muhammad could see her body, and he was aroused, and he wanted her, and then he came home, and he was ashamed because she was basically the wife of his son, right? And then the Quran talks about this shame that Muhammad had,
That's why you
and
cannot
talks
adopt children.
hold on. Let me tell the story. Hold on. Just give me a few seconds, right? It talks about the shame that Muhammad had, and a lot of people misunderstand this verse because they think it's about. Actually, I said it wrong. They think the shame is about Muhammad wanting to being lusting over his son's wife, and they think that the Quran is talking about that shame. But that's not the shame that the Quran is talking about. The shame is that the Quran comes up, announces that, commands Muhammad to marry Zainab, because Zayd comes to Muhammad, his father, and says, like, you know what, I don't even like Zainab. If you really like her, like, because Zainab told me that you kind of looked at her and you were like horny for my wife, so she told me that, and honestly, you could have her. Like, I'll divorce her and you could have her if you want, right? And then the verse, the God commands Muhammad to marry Zainab, so conveniently, right? And then the thing is that this was a huge taboo. It was at that time during the Arabs, the pre-Islamic Arabs, for any man to marry his son's or wife or former wife, right? So the shame is not for why were you aroused by her. The shame is, why did you deny my command? Like, I told you to go marry Zainab, and then you were worried about other Muslims' judgment, about what you think over my command. Like, the God basically tells Muhammad that you're not. Why are you concerning other people judging what you do over you being concerned over following my command? Because my command, the reason why I'm giving you this command is for people to understand that you're adopted. There is no adoption. Like, you are Zayd is not your son. Like, and again, what Cat Lady said, this is why adoption, we don't have adoption in Islam, because of this verse, right? And then a lot of people don't understand the purpose of the story. A lot of people think like, oh my God, what an embarrassing story. Oh, Muhammad such a, couldn't keep it in his pants. He wanted to marry his son's wife, and then God brings down a verse to say, like, obviously that verse was there. So they think they think the utility, like ex-Muslims and critics of Islam, they think the point of this verse was for Muhammad to use God's words to just marry whoever he wants, right? They're like, oh, look how convenient. He wanted Zainab, and all of a sudden a verse comes down from God, commanding him to marry him. Obviously, Muhammad made this up so that he could marry Zainab. But again, all of these stories are fake, and the actual thing that is happening here is the verse that comes after, which says Muhammad is the last prophet. And how do you guys, how are these two related? How is God telling Muhammad to go marry Zainab, and Zayd is not your son, has anything to do with Muhammad being the last prophet? Like, how is that? Do you guys know any? Do you guys have any guesses? Any guesses?
Can you repeat the question? I'm not sure I followed.
Okay, so how, like, so we have the Quran talking about the story of Muhammad being commanded by God to marry Zainab, right? And Muhammad being ashamed of not following God's, like trying to resist God's command. In fact, Muhammad said in a hadith that if there was any verse in the Quran that he could remove, it would be this verse in the Quran, right? And a lot of people think that the reason why Muhammad was ashamed was because he lusted over Zainab. But that's not the reason why he was ashamed. The reason why he was ashamed is that he was resisting. This verse shows that Muhammad was trying to resist God's command. That's the reason for his shame, right? And then the Quran makes the point that Zayd is not your son, so this shouldn't be a taboo, because it's taboo to marry your son's wife, but you adopted Zayd, so Zayd is not your son, and that's why it's okay for you to marry Zainab. How is all of this story anything to do with Muhammad being the last prophet? And what does this got to do with political motivations for writing this verse?
Because
I
then
don't think
nobody
any
can
of
come
you.
along later and say that Muhammad did or said anything wrong?
No. So let me
Is it
explain.
like the point?
Yes.
Is it where the point of don't add anything that I didn't add? Don't allow anything.
No,
Allow no, not that. Okay, okay. So
no.
tell.
So this is this. Okay. So prophethood, as people understood it back then, goes from father to son. Okay, it's inherited, right? Or at least it stays in the blood. This is why because Muslims, their prophets were all Jewish, right?
But that's
This
not
is
a Jewish
why.
idea.
Hold,
It's not a.
Yeah,
hold
this is
on.
not a Jewish idea.
Hold,
No.
I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
say it was a
I
Jewish.
want to hear. I want
Guys,
to hear.
guys,
I'll shut up.
guys.
That's fascinating.
I never said this was a Jewish idea. I said this was their understanding of it. Okay, so their understanding is for Muhammad. Muhammad claimed prophethood by the story of Islam is Arabs being the sons of Abraham, right? Through Ishmael, which is a made up story, right? So the Jews, they were the sons of Isaac, and the Arabs are the sons of Ishmael through Hagar. So Abraham, through his wife Sarah, had the Jews were born from her, and through Hagar and basically Ishmael, we had the Arabs, right? And them being the sons of Abraham is their claim to prophethood. So it stays prophethood stays in the blood, right? That's their understanding, right? So it's an inherited concept. So the reason why early Arab empires, which slowly became Islamic, because a lot of people misunderstand this. They think Islam came first and then the Arabs became an empire. That's not true. The Arab Empire, when it first taking shape, it was un-Islamic. Islam came much later than people think it did. But the reason why early Arab empires included this into the Quran, was because they were trying to close an ideological branding for rebellion, right? Because they already have a religion with a prophet that is the brand of their empire, their newly formed empire. So the way for you to rebel against it is to have other prophets connected to Muhammad, right? Like his son, or because so they were trying to the way to cut this here and be like, this is it, guys, this is the prophet, this is the book, no more prophets, okay? Because any more prophets is basically branches off of whatever we agree on right now. And somebody were like, okay, Muhammad and this is our brand to rebel against the powers, the people that are holding power, right? So they're like, this is the last prophet, we end this year, and Muhammad has no fucking sons. Muhammad had no sons, and
But he
in
has
fact, the only
grandsons.
son that
He had daughters.
no,
Your daughter.
no, okay, no, but it goes through sons. Okay, you guys are getting ahead because that's what Shias. This is how Shiism was invented as a rebellion against Sunni Islam. You guys predicted what happened eventually, right? So Muhammad even had a son, okay, who they made sure that their story was written in a way that he died before Muhammad's death. So they killed him in the stories to make sure that, like, okay, no sons, it was just Muhammad, and he only had daughters. Okay, so fuck off with new prophets and new branches of Islam or new sects of Islam. This is it. This is our branding, right? So, and they made this canon. So the main rebellious, and guys, this is they weren't called Sunnis and Shias back then. This is what we eventually named them, Sunni and Shias. But the way that the rebellion started, like was created against the Sunni powers that be, was with the invention of, like, okay, because this is in the Quran, it's not in the Hadith, it's in the Quran. So you cannot, if you're Muslim and the Quran is the book and Muhammad is the Khatam al-Anbiya, somebody can be like, well, actually I disagree. They actually managed to make the Quran so fundamental to Islam that nobody could challenge that. So the Shia version, invention is like, okay, Muhammad is the last prophet, well, we have this new thing called an imam. Okay, right? So they just invent a new holy title. Okay, so he was the last prophet, but guess what? Now we have imams, and we and the imams continue. Okay, so the idea of an
But like,
imamate was it was an invention as a way to cause a rebellious brand against the Sunni powers, right?
but did Muhammad have any brothers? Or what about his dad? Did his dad have brothers? And like, even if we just go
His
back to
dad died
Isaac,
when
I
he
mean,
was a no. Well, I mean that's not how. I mean, you're
I'm
talking about
sure
other
there's
male.
people out there who have a
Okay,
direct
but
paternal line back to Isaac.
but
I
that's
mean, why
but
don't you?
that's how.
Why
Well, there's
don't
no
you?
proof.
But
There's no proof. The
but
Arabs.
I just
Yeah.
answered you, right? You're saying what about other male figures in the family, right? So
Mhm.
the Shias use other male people in the family. That's what they did. And even the Abbasid dynasty is referring to Abbas, which is another male uncle in the family. So yes, there was an attempt to use other male people in the family to create these movements as to oppose the Umayyad dynasty, right? And Ali, which is the first imam of Shias, is the male person, which is the was their ideal candidate because he was the husband of Muhammad's daughter, right? He was in Muhammad's family from the same tribe. He grew up with Muhammad in his household. So they were like, this is perfect. This is the male guy, and we don't have to call him a prophet because the Quran makes it clear that Muhammad is the last prophet. So we'll just call him the Imam. He's the first Imam. And then we just use the Imamate concept as a way for us to have our own branding. But go, Asi, you wanted to say something?
No, I was
Wait,
gonna
wait,
also.
wait. One moment.
Go ahead, Gabat.
Sorry. Emamate is from mother?
No, Imamat is Imam. Imam is like a religious title,
It doesn't come
kind
from
of like
the mother?
no,
Oh, okay.
no, no. Asi,
It
what you
sounds
gonna
like
say?
enough.
I was gonna say
It makes sense.
maybe you should explain in a few words how they split from Ali and the people of Mecca and the Sahaba and the small politics of power that they had there, and then it will be more clear.
Yeah, but okay, true. But those are the stories that they tell that never happened. That's very interesting, and I could tell you, but I just want you to understand that there was no Ali, there was no Abu Bakr, there was no Amar, there was no Usman. Okay,
I don't believe
it's
you.
this all, huh?
I don't believe like the King of Jordan. He
No.
traces his family back to Muhammad.
Yeah, everybody does that. Like, yeah, okay, show me evidence for the existence of any, there's no historical evidence for the existence of any of these people. Just because people claim things, they make it doesn't make it real.
Africans,
Guys,
yeah,
Okay,
some Africans call
okay,
themselves
Jordan.
Jew. I'm going to shut up now, Armin, because it's interesting. And please keep going.
yeah, just because people claim things doesn't make it true. Okay, there was no Muhammad. The name the word Muhammad refers to Jesus. Muhammad itself means me is it's actually it's a adverb and a verb, like it's something between a verb and an adverb. It means praised be the prophet of God, which is talking about Jesus. They eventually used it as the name of there was a guy that united Arabs to fight against the Roman Empire, the Byzantine Empire, and the Sassanid Empire. There was a guy that did that, but his name was not Muhammad. We don't even know what his name was, and he was actually a Zionist because the earliest it's true, guys. The guy that eventually turned into Muhammad, the earliest document that suggests what his views were, he believed that Jerusalem belonged to the Jews. He was fighting with the Jews alongside the Jews against the people, the rulers of Jerusalem, to settle the Jews in Jerusalem. That guy was somebody completely different from they changed the story to somebody completely different.
So he's a
Yeah, well,
composite.
yeah. So Muhammad is just basically a combination of so many different um, heroes' stories that was combined into this guy. Um, the Arabs that eventually turned into Muslims, they were a Jewish Christian cult that was Judo-Christian cult that was basically heretical to what was canonized in Rome, right? They believed that Jesus was not the Son of God and not God, and he was only a prophet of God, and that the other Christians got it wrong. And that's why Muhammad, which means praised be the prophet of God, was referring to Jesus, introducing him as a prophet, not as the Son of God or God. All right. By the way, guys, there's a really good book that you could read about this. Is by Robert Spencer. It's called "Did Muhammad Exist?" It's a really good book that explains all of it. But a lot of people tell me, like, I mean, if you don't think any of these stories are real, how could you like criticize Muhammad as evil and violent? I'm like the same way that I could tell
Yeah.
Voldemort is evil. Like at the end of the day,
I'm like,
Muslims believe in this character. Yeah,
Exactly.
go on.
They think he's
Mm,
real, and they
yeah,
base
I
their
was
beliefs
gonna
around
say
him.
that's a stupid question. Like,
yeah.
Thing in the Quran for the people of the faith. So why would you? I'm playing a devil advocate, but why would you?
Right.
Why would you write them down if it's not
Because
real?
because important people did those embarrassing things in the Umayyad and Abbasid dynasty, and the best way to excuse it is to just say Muhammad did that, so it's okay. So I fucked a 9-year-old. You think that's bad? Well, guess what? Muhammad fucked a 9-year-old, so I guess it's fine.
What about the night of Al Zuhr?
oh,
What?
What about the night of Al Zuhr when he had sex with 30 men?
I don't. Is that
David Wood really succeeded in this one. Really
is
did.
that is that Sahih hadith or is that one of those weaker
No, no,
hadiths?
no. Not Sahih. No,
It's not Sahih. Okay, so I
no,
guess
no.
Muslims would just dismiss that story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
the,
still embarrassing for them. That's why he does it.
yeah,
I think I think that's just a Muslim's fantasy. That's fan fiction by a Muslim that was fantasizing by being raped by 30 men. So he was just writing that as a story of Muhammad. I think
And
that
you
was
know
just
how much the Indians are like taking pride of it because there is like this opinion that is like Indians, they are really loving it.
yeah.
oh,
I didn't.
Armin, that's so interesting. You can speak like for hours and it's like it's not enough.
You know, we
I was
Jews have story in the Torah. It's kind of funny if you remember it. There is a story about Choni HaMe'agel, and this is one crazy guy who drew a circle in the sand, and he said that he's not going to step out until God will
That's
make
not
it
in the
rain.
Torah.
It's not. Sorry, it's
Never.
so it's kind of remind me.
where is it then? Is it in the Talmud?
It's closer to the days of Jesus. It's like one of the guys. He.
It's
It's
Mishnah,
a long
no?
story. Yeah, something like that. Yes. But why is it connected?
Because Muhammad drew a circle in the sand and he told this guy,
Oh,
listen, don't leave the circle or horrible things will happen to you. And then it rained.
yeah.
Man,
Okay.
So
This.
so guys, the story for people who don't know what the story is, we have in Islamic tradition the story of Muhammad who goes into with his friend into the desert, and then in the deserts he draws a circle around himself and he tells his friend, no, he draws a
No,
circle
around the
around his
friend.
friend, and yeah, around the friend, and he tells his friend, do not enter, leave the circle, or really bad things happen to him. And his friend is like, okay. And then Muhammad waits in the desert, and 30 men show up. 30 tall black men apparently show up, right?
Naked.
And they start like raping Muhammad all night. And
Yir-
his friend just watches
Yirkavun.
that all night. Huh?
The word is yirkavun, to ride
What does
him.
that mean? Oh, they ride him all night. And it was apparently very, very painful. By the way, guys, this is Islamic narrative of what happened. Like we're not making fun of Muhammad. They're making fun of themselves apparently. And yes, exactly, tall and well hung. And apparently, Muhammad does the story say if Muhammad was having a bad time or a good time? I don't know
Bad
if that
time.
was
Bad time.
included. Bad time. Okay, it was very painful, and it happened like for hours and hours and hours. and then apparently he couldn't walk after. Is that right?
He went back to the circle after the light, the morning came, and he like rest his head on the legs of the other man in the
Oh
circle,
my
the
god.
friend that came with him, and he was like hurt. But there is a thing, there is this tradition of some old tradition in this. I don't know where exactly, that when someone is like say riding someone else, a man, he like gives him power. Now remember that Muhammad said that he has the strength of 30 men.
Yeah. I
Is
mean,
it good?
these are just like
It's a joke.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
more of a
yeah,
joke. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
This all
I heard
sounds
that
very
had
much like psychosis, man.
this. I mean, this
Unlike
just
the
sounds like
rest.
yeah, yeah. No, this just sounds like story. This just sounds like stories that
I
people
love it.
just told each other, and they just made it into the
I love it.
the body of the total hadith. You love. And like it's very interesting to follow Islamic hadith and try to make sense of like what purpose did this serve, because it usually every single one of them at some point served some purpose, either entertainment or political reasons or someone's fantasy. I mean, some hadiths are obvious. Yeah, go on and see.
There is an Israeli professor, Professor Mordechai Kedar, and he has a whole series that he talks about it. He takes, for example, a hadith that speaks about watermelons, something about watermelons, and he says that according to his research, this hadith was added later, and it doesn't make sense because watermelon was not in Arabia that time; they only existed in India, and they would have gotten rotten on the way. So it's a little weird.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My favorite hadith in Islam, I have two favorite hadiths. One is about Moses, and one about some monkeys, right? So the monkey hadiths in Islam, and these are Sahih
Jewish
hadiths.
monkeys
No, just
or
monkeys.
monkeys? Okay.
Yeah, monkeys. Okay. So there's a story of pre-Islamic Arabs that like during Islamic times, the guy was telling his experience about what happened during before Islam came, and he said that he was on his way to somewhere, and then he noticed some monkeys, right? And he noticed that I don't know if they had monkeys in the Hijaz back then, but it's in the Hadith. So he noticed that the monkeys were stoning another monkey, a female monkey, a she monkey, for committing adultery outside of marriage,
Are you
right?
serious?
Yeah, this is Islamic hadith. And then it gets weirder. I didn't even know monkeys did have marriage. So so he's saying like they noticed some monkeys gathering around, and they were stoning another monkey because that monkey, she had sex out of marriage, so that's why she was being stoned. And then it continues by saying that then he joined the monkeys, and he picked up some rocks, and he joined the monkeys in stoning that female monkey. He started helping them. So the humans started joining the monkey group in stoning that female monkey. So that's in the hadith.
And that's
In
it?
the
What am
That's
I
Sahih
the
hadith.
end?
supposed? What am I supposed to
That's
learn
it.
from that
Yeah,
story?
exactly. What's the bottom line? There is
I
no
don't.
bottom line?
No, no. Okay, there is. There is. I think this is my guess. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think the message is that God's laws are natural.
Mm.
Like it's inherent within nature. Like even monkeys follow Sharia. So I think that's the message. This is my guess.
And they have to join nature to help it.
I don't think that's the message, but I don't know. I just think like it's just basically showing how ingrained God's laws are within nature. I
Did you
think.
know that Tasmanian devils will like give birth to a litter of Tasmanian devil babies? And like a Tasmanian devil mom has 4 nipples, and the first 4 to like start to suckle, she like will take care of and raise, but the other babies who don't make it into the first 4, she kills.
I didn't know that.
But like,
Some humans have 4 nipples.
That's why, I'm sorry, this is not the right group, but like if a sow gives birth to too many piglets, they have to take the excess, the runts away and hand rear them. Otherwise, the mother will kill them.
I think that if the monkey follows Sharia, so he should tell her Tala 3 times and not stone anybody.
What is
Probably not monkeys, probably babonos. You know,
What's Salah?
I divorce you.
What?
I
Talaq,
divorce you.
divorce.
Oh, I didn't know that. Talak?
Yeah. So there's
Oh.
another hadith about Moses, if you guys want to hear that.
Oh, good. It wasn't Moses who saw the who joined with the monkeys. Okay, good.
No, there's another story about Moses in Islamic hadith, and this is also Sahih. It says that the Bani Israel, meaning the Jews, they used to, when they would go wash themselves, they used to wash themselves naked in front of each other. Like the men will go somewhere and they would just go fully naked and they will clean themselves while taking a bath next to each other. But Moses didn't do that. Moses will go take off his clothes privately, unlike the other Jews, right? And he would just like bathe privately with that, like letting other people see him naked. And the story is that there was a rumor that the reason why Moses does that is because there's something wrong with his private parts. I forgot the name of the disease. Like I don't know, his dick is weird or something that is embarrassing. And the reason why he goes and does it privately is so that he doesn't get embarrassed, right? That was the rumor against Moses's private parts, right? So God doesn't like Jews speaking so ill of his prophet like that. So he wanted to demonstrate that Moses's private parts are completely fine. So what happens, there's a miracle happens that when Moses was taking a bath, he had his clothes in a corner, and there's a rock that. By the way, guys, I kid you not, this is authentic Sahih Islamic hadith, okay? Official part of Islamic camp. A rock picks up Moses's clothes and runs away with the clothes.
Oh,
Right?
I've heard it. Oh my
A rock.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what Moses does, Moses picks up a stick and starts following the rock, hitting the rock, and keeps saying the rock, give back my clothes, rock, give my clothes. And he starts running, chasing the rock naked. And then all the Jews are looking at Moses and like, oh my God, look at his private parts. They're fine.
It's amazing.
They're amazing. They're amazing. Like,
oh my God,
like
take a
he's
picture.
like, he's so good. He's great. Like there's nothing
You
wrong.
are the leader now.
He has a perfect body. And then he keeps, like, Moses keeps chasing the rock and hitting it, asking the rock, give me back my clothes, give me back my clothes. And also the hadith mentions that if you go to the rock today, Moses is so powerful and he was so strong that if you look at the rock today, there's still the signs of the stick on the body of the rock today. It's still there.
Did
That's
the
how
stone
hard he
give
was
it
hitting the
back?
rock. I don't know. It doesn't say.
Because if
I
it
think so.
gave it back after he asked it with words, then it has connections to the Torah or something. I wonder if it's like that.
I think they mixed up the whole concept of Steph completely.
Yeah, but like they hit the rock so it will bring out water, or
I thought
Moses did hit the rock.
a snake, a nefesh, a snake, not a rock.
No, after that, he was trying to hit a rock to get water out of it in the desert.
Oh, beseder, Ken.
This is something that I wonder if it's connected, but nothing with clothes. This is so funny.
Real preoccupation with the male member.
Yeah.
Oh, here I found it. It's Sahih Bukhari, guys. It cannot get any more authentic than this.
Ooh.
Here, I could copy and paste the hadith here in the chat for you guys. Oh, error unsent. Okay, so let me just give you the number because it's too long apparently. So I could read it. Narrated by Abu Huraira, which actually means the father of cats, I think. Yeah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the people of Bani Israel used to take bath naked all together, looking at each other. The Prophet Moses, the Prophet Moses used to take bath alone. They said, by Allah, nothing prevents Moses from taking a bath with us except that he has scrotal hernia. Okay? So apparently he has scrotal hernia. That's why. So once Moses went out to take a bath and put his clothes over a stone, and then the stone ran away with his clothes. Moses followed the stone, saying, my clothes, O stone, my clothes, O stone, till the people of Bani Israel saw him and said, by Allah, Moses has got no defect in his body. Moses took his clothes and began to beat the stone. Abu Huraira added, by Allah, there are still 6 or 7 marks present on the stone from the excessive beating.
That's it?
Yes,
Oh, so
that's it.
This
no,
is
no
so
connection.
weird.
Like, by
Like,
Allah, you mean
weird.
wallahi?
How did they come up with
Yeah,
that?
bye.
What were they smoking? Because nobody who's not taking something this shit.
True. Yeah.
A lot of hashish.
I don't know. Don't.
That's the
I
hysterical part, that when they tell you that Muhammad tells you, and those Jews, they didn't believe me, and like today we listen and we're like, of course they didn't believe you. I mean, it's everything that you claim that is Jewish that you are doing or talking about is lacking, and we can see it.
You know what's funnier?
Mm.
It's clear that they mocked him. They like really, really, they trolled him. They told him shit, and they made fun of him.
Well,
Right? I mean,
I,
I'm sure
I,
you will know how to give
he claimed
examples.
that the proof of his being the prophet was in the Torah, was in the whatever they call the Christian
The
gospels.
beginning, yes.
No, what's the name? Injil, in the Injil. And
Oh,
yeah, that's what they call the Christian gospels.
yeah.
Um,
That you
and,
spoke about the Torah.
and it's not there. So I'm sure they made fun of him because he's like saying, "Oh, look at the Jews and Christians to prove that it's me," and they're like, the Jews and Christians going, "Shit, no, you're crazy. You're not here."
yeah, because and that's why they came up with the idea that in the Torah that the Jews have today is corrupted, and they changed it, and that's why it's not the real Torah. You guys have the fake Torah.
Which is
The
pretty
real
weird
Torah
considering
was
that the
Torah.
Torah, the bits of pieces of parchment that they found in Qumran are identical to what we read today.
yeah.
It don't
They
matter.
say they say Moses was a Muslim. They say Moses was a Muslim. Jesus was a Muslim. Prophet Adam was a Muslim. They're all
Moshe was
Muslims. The
Musab, a
reason,
Muslim, yeah.
You got a Muslim. You
yeah,
got a Muslim. Everybody get a Muslim.
No,
yeah,
that's
they're
what when they get it to try to get us to convert, they can consider it reversion, not conversion.
But the
yeah.
best guy was the one who told Muhammad about Ezra.
That was some trolling.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you look tired.
Yeah. No. I just like when I rub my eye, I think I got some face cream in my eye, so that's why I'm tearing.
Oh,
I'm trying to I'm trying to get it out.
I was,
Okay.
I was actually looking for some references to see where they've come up with this Ezra thing, and I found one little thing. I found Ezra Sofer,
no.
which it's in the latest book. He basically
He wrote
um,
the oral Torah,
he
helped
wrote
write it.
some of it, yeah, not like from his current day when they were still writing about the kings and so on. So he wrote on and that was his part.
It
He
was in
wrote,
the days of Koresh, in the Cyrus.
yes.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. He wasn't a prophet. He
No,
wasn't
No,
really.
he was more like a
he's so minor
historian.
that we shove him
He was a
together
writer.
with Nehemiah. I mean Nehemiah.
Yeah, a reformer, I think you can say. He did some reform.
Didn't he build the walls of
No,
Yerushalayim?
he was like in the first. How do you say it when you are going to another country, not your own? What's the word? When you're forced out of your country.
Deportation?
Uh,
Exile.
exile. Yeah, in the first exile, he was the one who like made the god more. Yeah, Armin, you talked about it, Armin. I don't know how to. A couple of weeks ago, I think.
Oh yeah, it was Nehemiah who built the walls. You're right.
What was?
Around Yerushalayim, because it's like the story that when the people came back to Yerushalayim and they were being attacked by all the tribes around, so they had to build walls.
Really, I never heard that.
Read Nehemiah.
The modern scholars say that the Jews that returned from Babylon brought a revisionist version of the Torah.
They
And
didn't exactly. It was a mix. Some stayed, some left and came back, and they did some reform in this time to keep like the religion or the tradition alive. So yes,
Yeah, but,
there were some major changes then.
yeah, but they wouldn't have changed the Torah. You know, the rest of the Tanakh was still being written, so they would just add.
No,
well,
it's
according to
it-
academics, they did change it. So
They added maybe. It's more like philosophical changes. It's more like
so
added things that will make uh, like um, uh, uh, look.
Ideas
I'm not
taken.
a believer, and I'm afraid to say the name of God. Can you explain it? It's like how you grew up. I cannot say it. Amazing.
Just say
Uh,
Hashem.
yeah, but I meant like specific God. But they made it like
Hashem.
yeah, that's the center of the religion.
they made it more monotheistic. He was
Yes.
according to academics, he
Yeah.
was influenced by Persian religion, and yeah. So I mean,
It's very complicated. He did a lot of things. I think good things. It's not only it started he is and more, but yeah. But I think did you know also that after 70 years in this exile, he did some things that were not easy for the people. Whoever came back from Babylon and was married to a Gentile woman, a Babylonian woman, had to leave her behind or stay with her, but cannot come back.
yeah.
Why is
Actually,
she
Yeah,
converted?
this is a book we don't
there
really
was no
learn
conversion then.
about because half of it is Aramaic, no?
I'm not sure.
When
I
did
think it's in Eicha,
we
Megillat
start
Eicha.
allowing conversion?
What?
When did we start allowing conversion?
Well, Ruth.
Later.
Yesterday.
There's all sorts of stuff with all these mythological figures, like Abraham is Avram, which means highest father. It's literally a description, not a name. And
Yeah, look,
and Moshe means son in ancient Egyptian.
but look,
So half
Ruth,
of them were
Ruth the
called
Moabite,
Moshe.
Ruth the Moabite was a convert, and yet she was one of the ancestors of David Amelech.
That's true. I didn't think about it. I don't
I
know.
think it depends for what scope you're looking at that, because Tzipora was also a Midianite.
I
Yeah.
think it was like the time of need because the people were exiled to Babylon and they were starting to lose their tradition and identity. So they did something very extreme and they kind of took it back. And it's written in a way that you see that it's not easy. But it's interesting because people do interesting stuff when reality calls for it. Maybe I don't know. It's in this way I look at it. Like they had a problem as a nation and they had to fix it.
Oh,
Right?
poor
Guys, what about
discuss their crazy stuff?
can you explain to me that because the Talmud, because a lot of people were like, oh my god, Judaism is so wacky and as wacky as Islam, look at what's in the Talmud. So what's your views on the Talmud?
Can I
But the
talk?
Talmud is
I
just
know
I want to say something
Rabbis
about
about
it.
that.
Let's raise hands. Let's raise
oh,
hands,
okay.
guys.
I'm, I have to go
so
first.
I
Right?
see you moderate. I see is the mod, so let's ask you
Yeah, so
moderate.
you decide that I'm going first.
Asiga. Who's
No, I don't mind. But if everybody wants to jump in, so I think raising hands, you can go, Cat Lady. But let's do the hands if many people
However
want.
many Jews you have, add one, and that's how many opinions.
Yeah, and earlier Armin said something about maybe like Judaism, and we all like started like cuckooing like a chickens. No, it's not from Judaism. It was like
Okay.
chickens. Okay, so the Talmud. Okay, I used to believe all of this because it's a huge collection of books, mostly in Aramaic, some in Hebrew, written in a very not easy to understand language.
Mhm.
Okay, but I actually only in the last year looked more into it. I can tell you that many, or I think most of, I didn't find something that was like as it was presented. It's amazing. There is like this famous thing about a girl from 3 years and 1 day. It's she's still a virgin if you were like do something to her because it's like a finger in the eye. It's nothing. It sounds bad, right? And I wrote it. I read it, and I see it written, and I said, okay, what is it saying it's that it's okay to do this to a 3-year-old? But after checking it more, it was talking about the it's legal. Okay, I don't want to get into it all this. It's talking about legal terms, and it's like when she's 18, if she was like raped or something, she's still a virgin. Okay, that's why they said it. They go into smallest details. They do hypothetical arguments that they don't believe in necessarily. It's debates um, for debates most of the time. Some other stuff, it's like stories, and it's like, and many things that you see are simply made up. Also,
Also, unless you are ultra orthodox, you don't really read the Talmud. I mean, I
and
got
also, uh,
a
and also,
few,
it's not supposed to be rule book. It's not guidebook.
no, but we learn like a few like moral stories, like, you know, if you find
A few.
something, you should try to return it to the owner, you know, and um, there was like stories of like neighbors that were fighting over where the fence between the houses should be and how it was settled and stuff like this. So we
It's like
get
case
just,
laws. It's not the laws themselves, though.
yeah, it's just examples for kids,
Yeah.
and we never really go into all the weird stuff. And only the ultra orthodox actually know the Talmud. We don't know it. Normal Israelis just know a few sayings, you know, like a few more sayings that actually Muslims copied from us. Like if you kill one person, it's like killing the whole world, and so on.
It's like four rabbis arguing over something. Each one has to bring another arguments, even if they don't really like it, but they have to present it. And they don't necessarily decide who's right. They say,
They
okay,
also
only
bring
God knows.
it's also like, what if someone says, okay, so here's a rule, and someone brings an edge case, but what if, you know, and then they
Yeah.
discuss it and argue about it.
Guys, let me try to summarize a bit, because I think that you explained it wonderfully
Yeah, I
to
fucked it up. I
Jewish
didn't do it.
people.
Like,
You
yeah.
explained it wonderfully to Jewish people.
Yeah,
So to try to explain it to Amin.
please do. No, I'm not. I'm too tired.
I try.
But
Okay.
there,
Yeah. Please.
yeah.
Okay. So the Jewish people after the Bet Hamikdash fell had a problem. The Jewish religion, which its burning heart, it's
You mean the fall of the second temple? That's what you mean, right?
correct. The Jewish people got into a problem because the beating heart of the Jewish people.
Before you say, let me see if I know if I get this right myself, and you correct me which
Right.
parts, because I want to see if I. So the the way that the pre Second Temple Judaism worked when it comes to acts of worship was through animal sacrifice in the temple, right? Um, and it was the destruction of the Second Temple that made worship in Judaism more text based rather than ritual based. You know,
Correct.
I mean, still it's okay. And this was the birth. The fall of the Second Temple created two sects of Judaism. One is the one that we now today call the Rabbinic Judaism, and the other one is what we now call today Christianity. And these are the
Oh, oh,
fork that came out of the fall of the Second Temple.
that's not true.
And well, that's what the scholars say. The scholars that I read say. And then the Christianity is something that eventually turned into its own separate religion. Um, and Rabbinic Judaism basically took the focus from the priests to rabbis. It earlier was priests, and now there were rabbis, and rabbis became the central figure, and the roles of the rabbis and compared to the priests were different, and then the rabbis became the central figures within the new Jewish religion, and their commentary became a important piece of the new religious ideology, which is basically the Talmud. I don't
But the
know.
Yeah,
What
but
do you
word
think, Yossi?
rabbis
Talmud
is
Wait,
predates
wait,
in
wait,
the
wait, wait, wait.
Talmud
So before,
predates.
oh, what?
There's a
yeah,
Babylonian Talmud.
yeah. That's okay. So this is what I also wanted to add. Yeah, there was
Yeah,
also
there's an
parts of the
overlap.
Talmud that actually they say that there are claims that predates this time, but
No
actually, if
claims.
you,
It's actually written in ways that's
Well, when
proven.
it hold on,
yes,
Yes,
let's go
because they had
actually.
Sanhedrin and for and go and all that, and some of the things are from back even then. I do not disagree with that. All I'm saying is that the Talmud became a real necessity after you don't have the temple anymore, and so you need a lot of scripture that will help the leaders of the society to make decisions. And how do you make these decisions? You go into the very long scripture of the Talmud, and you see the mechanism of making decisions through debates, through arguments, and through going back to the scripture and collecting examples on examples. For example, because Talmud is only one pillar of this system. You need the Talmud, the Gemara, and the Mishnah, and then you have the whole package. That
kind of the same.
what?
It's one. It's like, never mind. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. Okay.
And so you basically, what the Talmud is that it's not a scripture that you believe in. It's a scripture that give you a system of how to make decisions. Now I'm in the community, I'm a rabbi, somebody asked me a questions. Listen, I by accident I loaned somebody's donkey, the donkey died when I loaned it. What do we do?
Mm,
Okay, now the
mm.
rabbi needs to check. How do we check? What's he do it through also through this mechanism.
So
That's amazing.
there's a lot of things in Judaism, a lot of practices that I think comes from the Talmud rather than the Torah. So, for example, when you're waving the chicken around your head to move your sins to the chicken, that comes from the Talmud, right?
Mm, no, I'm not sure. I
You
think
know
it
which
comes
you know
from
which one.
the temple. Actually, it's an equivalent for a sacrifice.
So where is that coming from? Like, where's the idea that if by the way, that's animal abuse. Just to be
That's
clear, the
no. You don't have to
the
do it
idea.
like an abuse. You can do it like with. Never mind. Yeah. You can do it with money, by the way.
Yeah, it still happens. Okay, I
Yeah,
still
yeah. I'm
see
not
it. It's
saying
pretty
it doesn't
crazy.
happen. People eat chickens today.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't wave them around
You
their
don't have
head
to
before
like
they.
take it in the nose and like flip it around like they break their nose. You can just raise it, hug it on the way, maybe
All
like
right.
like no, okay, never mind. But one thing I want to add, one thing. uh, is the Talmud an authority? Is it holy? Okay, it's not holy. It's not a word of God. It's a collection of things that rabbis wrote. We know that. Is it holy? In a way, if you believe in everything,
Oh.
it's holy. It's not an authority for law. It can teach you how to write law if you are a rabbi,
Oh,
which later
Torah in the chat is saying that the Talmud itself claims that it's the word of God, and he's
What?
giving
No, it
us the
doesn't.
citation.
No, it doesn't.
That's what
And he also
No.
Torah also said a moment ago that
he's giving us.
Ashkenazi.
He's giving us the chapter and part as well. Look,
Pirkei
It's
Avot,
people
chat.
interpreting the
oh,
word of
by the way,
God to some extent, or trying to interpret, or making
what?
Yeah,
arguments
I know,
based off the
but
word. But not
that's
the word
what
of
I
God.
thought. But that's what Torah is saying in the chat.
What
It
is?
claims the word of.
You know,
But
after I lost faith in humanity, like my religion started making more sense to me after I lost faith in humanity.
Pirkei Avot, by the way, what Torah says is one of the best and prettiest parts of this whole thing.
Well, he says in that part it says it claims that the
So I don't
Talmud is
believe it.
part of.
No. It's like more
Talmud is
psychological
not the
stuff.
word of
It's
All
law
like
right, guys, where does this come
of
from?
God. It's not the word of
When I
God.
went when I well, of course, I'm an atheist. I don't think there's such a thing as the word of God. I'm just asking about what the religion
and
says.
it's not a
But
rule book.
here's another question. When I went to Jewish communities, when I went to check their school, to the school and the boys' school and stuff, right? There was I saw the children's book, right? And
Gemara.
there's a prayer. The boys, they have a prayer, right? I don't know if you guys heard this, but the boys, their prayer is that they thank God that they were not
Yeah.
born as a girl.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. That's
I
true.
Okay, so
thank God for the fact that I was born a girl, so I don't have I thank God for the fact that I wasn't born a boy,
And
so
girls
I don't have a
say that
problem with
no,
that
but
boys
they're
trying to
made
create
as
no.
they're happy with what
Chickens,
they
we're
are.
chickens.
Yeah, but I'm not Samantha.
The girls they say they're happy with the way they were created. That's the
yeah, I'm
difference
glad
between the
that
men.
God made me a girl. I'm very
no.
grateful
I
for
saw
that.
the girl.
That's the
I
difference.
saw the girl's prayer. I saw the girl's prayer. It didn't say that they are thanking God that they
It
were
is.
born a girl.
No,
They're
that
not
they're,
thanking
they're
God for the
no,
fact
that
that
they're
they're born a
born
girl.
as they are.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
we are made as the God created us. That's like it's kind of something like that.
I think the
Yeah.
one thing that we all can agree about is that I don't think nothing is perfect. And I don't think that feminism started with the Talmud. And it's fine. It's like, but some people try to say it today, like, no, Judaism is perfect. It was the first. No, it's not. It's old. It's very smart, very good. It's not liberal in a way. It's like they try to take everything that today is considered good, and they find it in the Torah. No, it's something else, maybe even better. I don't know, but don't take like thing that was thought about 50 years ago and like do it. Chill. It's fun.
Ahmed in the chat. Ahmed in the chat saying, "I thank God that I'm not a girl for not dealing with period."
True.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know how you guys deal with that. It's actually pretty hard.
it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, guys, you shouldn't have bitten the apple. Like you brought this upon yourself, so you only have yourself to blame.
They thank God they don't have to spend their life living with a man.
Who thanks?
Oh.
The men, when they say thank God I'm a man, it's because they will spend their life with women.
Oh. Yeah.
Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah.
I think I'm not a religious person, but I think the way the Talmud works, if something is in the Talmud, it's an explanation of something in the Torah. So the
Some
chicken
parts.
thing is probably something in the Torah that they interpreted as waving a chicken.
So I have a question.
I don't think it was in the Torah. It's not written in the Torah.
Okay,
Can I refer to what?
do you guys get upset if like me as an atheist like find some
Yes.
things and they
No,
Wait, let me
why?
finish my.
Kind of.
Let me finish. Like if I find like some parts of Judaism like ridiculous as an atheist, do you guys get upset or
I'll,
like is
I,
that
No,
that's,
offensive?
I will be
No.
done with you. Yes.
I'm good
Yeah,
with it
That will be too much
I
fun.
don't care.
because,
Sarcasm.
like, my religion started making
I
more
think
sense to
religious
me
people
after
laugh
I lost
more
my
than
faith.
even the atheists and the Jewish traditions.
Wait, no, Torah is saying ask that again. Okay, so some of you are here believe in Judaism as a religion. Obviously, I'm an atheist and I don't believe in any religions. I think Islam is the main threat, so I focus my attention on Islam. But I don't find Christianity or Judaism or Hinduism, any of them, to make any sense, right? And even with all religions, I find a whole bunch of their claims to be ridiculous, even though they're not a threat like Islam is. I still find them ridiculous, right? But does that upset? Like, for example, me as
No.
an atheist, if my Jewish friend or my Christian friend or Muslim friend comes and tells me that I find atheism ridiculous, I don't get emotionally upset. I'm like, okay, like it's fine, right?
I
Like I
think
can
it's
still, I was wondering if you guys, as people who believe in Judaism, if somebody finds atheism ridiculous, I don't get upset. I don't get
You're
upset with them.
saying,
I don't get
are you
offended by
saying
them.
that atheism is a religion?
No, it's a view. It's a perspective, right? So
I think also
it doesn't
in
have to.
every religion, people have kind of a perspective on their own religion and on others.
Also, I
You know
think
what
to
I find
call
upsetting? I find upsetting the lack of Zoroastrians. Like, that's kind of sad the way Islam, like, wiped out Zoroastrians. So I'm more likely to get upset if you tell me you find Zoroastrianism ridiculous than my religion being ridiculous, to
Oh
be
my
very
God,
honest.
Zoroastrianism is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, here's the thing. I like all of these religions as legends and stories and
History
symbols
books,
and
good history books,
well,
in
I
a
mean, as
way.
part of his,
Right,
they're not good at telling history, but they're a part of history,
right.
right? I like them as a yeah, I like them as like stories that they're literature. They're part of history, so I enjoy them as part of a culture. I'm obsessed with them. With the stories of their creation, but both their own creation stories and the stories of their creation, so I find them valuable in that sense, all of them, right? But in the sense of, was somebody believing that these actually happen, I don't. I find that, like, for example, I if I enjoy the story of Harry Potter, I think it's a very beautiful story. I think it's very interesting. I can see being obsessed, like Game of Thrones. I'm obsessed with Game of Thrones, right? But if somebody actually says, like, and I think it's
So
valuable, it's really valuable to have Game of Thrones. I just don't believe in actual literal dragons, okay? And I don't believe in these stories really happening, right? So I value it, but I don't think they're real. And I think the idea of them being real is ridiculous. That's how I look at it. And Zoroastrianism, to answer Samantha, Zoroastrianism is also valuable as part of culture, part of history, very interesting stories, very important as a symbolic point of unity for Iranians, as a symbol for nationalism in Iran. All of that is valuable, but the actual belief in it is absolutely ridiculous, and it has really bad commands, which I don't really point out as much among my Iranians, among my Persian show, because it is right now serving as a symbolic point of unity. Zoroastrianism is at least a symbols, but if you actually read the text, it's absolutely, it has some really crazy teachings. It's very anti-woman, by the way, Zoroastrianism. So I
I
don't know.
believe that even though Jewish people claim that they have pride in women, I don't see it as that because there are too many rules that are against women
We
Right.
had female
in
Yeah.
the Jewish
prophets.
tradition.
We have women talking to God.
Yeah. But eventually they're not for women. They could say nice stories, but the bottom line is what's
Those are
I don't know.
token women. Token women.
Yeah, it's bottom line. The bottom line should tell you more than what some stories.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ahmed is saying, give us examples. I mean, like we have wife beating in Zoroastrianism, okay, and we also have punishing women and keeping them out of their house in their own area for when when they have their period, and it's actually the way that you keep them out there. Like I don't remember it exactly, but it's pretty brutal. It's also Zoroastrianism is anti-turtle. Did you guys know that turtles are probably demonic? And cats
Turtles?
are demonic in
Well,
Zoroastrianism.
turtles are weird.
So
So,
yeah, where's Deborah? Deborah is not here. Deborah would hate Zoroastrianism because it's very anti-cat.
I mean, Jews
Where's
believe
the
you're not
cat
supposed to
lady?
have sex
the
when you're
whole
on your period.
idea of religion is a Christian idea, right? So Judaism is
What?
not religion is a Christian idea. The word religion, right?
Oh no.
So Judaism is not exactly a religion. I mean, it's hard to describe to a world that thinks in Christian terminology, but Judaism is
Okay.
not a religion. We don't even have a word in Hebrew for religion. So we use an old Persian word, dat, which means law, right?
Um,
We don't actually have a word for
Well,
religion.
I mean, religion, if you consider the
Communist well.
definition of a religion is a mix of rituals surrounding a supernatural belief. So if you consider that to be the definition of religion, then Judaism is a religion, Christianity is a religion,
Yeah,
and so on and
Sort
so
it's
forth.
of,
more
yes,
than
but not. But
a
it's
Communism
only for
is
religion.
one
religion.
group, and it's only for
That
one group, and you are still Jewish
yeah,
even if
but
you
that's the
don't believe
basic
in the
but that's the
religion.
basic definition of a religion, a set
But you
of
had
rituals around a super.
you
No,
had also pagan religions before Judaism, way
Yeah,
before Judaism. I mean,
yes,
what do you
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
but today Christianity and Islam are not for
Communism
one
is a
group.
religion.
The- Judaism is an ancient religion, if you want to call it that, but it's an ethno religion. It's not like Christianity or
So so
Islam.
so
So
is
it's specific
well
to one
most
group.
religions. Yeah, most religions were ethno religions before Islam and Christianity. So
Exactly. But today, Judaism is actually an exception because it still maintains that
no
2,000
no
year old.
no Hinduism and Zoroastrianism are also ethno religions.
True, true, but not in the West. In the Western notion, really, Judaism sticks out because they know Jews
Right.
and they know Muslims. They don't really think about too much about
So
the rest.
we had a two-phase divorce from land and ethnicity, right? So religion was not only ethnic, it was also geographic. So we had gods for certain people in certain geographies, right? And Judaism was the first divorce from the land, right? When
Yes,
God became mobile. When Jews were kicked out of their land, the reason why empires moved people out of their lands is to get rid of their religion by dissolving them into other people, right? That was the whole point of moving people around like that, right? Um, but the Jews came up with the invention of creating mobile gods. So instead of the god being uh, tied to the temple and to that land, they somehow managed to pick the god up with him and bring them to Babylon and everywhere else. So it was the first attempt of separating the god from a land, and it was successful. They managed to be able to worship God anywhere they are, anywhere in the world, rather than just at the temple, right? So that was the separation of God from land, and Christianity took that one step further and divorced God from an ethnicity. So that's why Christianity became the first universal religion that is not for any specific land or any specific group of people. It could be for everyone, and Islam was a continuation in that. And that's why the only two main
yes.
right now universal religions are Christianity and the monism. Is that how you pronounce it in English? Manichaeism or
Monoism.
Monotheism.
manism? Huh?
Monotheism.
Monoism.
Say it again. No,
Monotheism.
Monotheism.
Manichaeism. Hold on,
Monotheism.
not monotheism. Because what is it again, Andre?
I think you mean monotheism.
No, no, no. No, 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 no. I'm talking about Prophet Mani.
Oh,
There was a
There was
prophet
a
named Mani?
yes, Mani. It was a big religion that came in and then left very
Oh,
fast. You guys, it's in English. It's called Manichaeism. You guys haven't heard of Manichaeism? It's the only other universal religion
no.
that grew so big and then disappeared very fast. It's
Why?
actually interesting that most people don't know about it because it was a really big religion at some
Well,
point.
what about
Okay,
Buddhism?
yeah, Buddhism is also a universal religion, but it's mostly Eastern. But Manichaeism was in Iran and Middle East and everywhere. It was so big that it changed Christianity. Saint Augustine was used to be one of them. Like that, the whole idea of this world being dirty and this world being ugly, and the whole idea of the apple in the Garden of Eden, the snake becoming the devil, all of this came from Manichaeism. It was so influential, but most people don't know about it. Anyways, that's another universal religion.
Sin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Original sin comes from that as well.
What?
I said original sin
Yes,
comes.
yes. Original sin comes from them. It's an Iranian, by the way, religion, and it
Yeah.
changed the Christianity through Saint Augustine. Here, I wrote the name here.
Yeah, it's very dualistic.
Exactly. The whole idea of good and evil, black
Yes.
and white, came from
Ahura
them.
Mazda versus Ahriman.
Yes, yes.
It's where the concept of the
Yeah.
devil comes from. Satan is essentially a cross between the because Judaism, Satan is an angel of God who serves God, whereas in Christianity he becomes a cross between he basically gets combined with Ahriman and turned into the devil.
Yep. The position of the devil in the Old Testament kept changing. At first, the devil used to be within the God's court, like he was kind of like a vizier or something that was serving God. Yeah.
The
And then
evil.
eventually,
Not in the Old Testament, in the New Testament. In the Old Testament, we don't have a devil.
no,
Oh, no,
do you have the Satan is in the Old Testament? Eventually, that Satan turned into the devil. It
Yeah,
wasn't
but
the
it
Job.
means, but
Job,
Satan,
Job.
you're talking about what happened with the story of Solomon, that he had the three devils or something like that. It's translated to obstacles,
What about Job?
hardships.
No, guys, I know the progression started within the Old Testament. I know the Christian took it to a whole new level, but the progression was starting. It started as him being in the court of God, and then he became a competitor to God, especially with the story. What was that prophet that God kept on curse?
Job?
Oh, yeah, yes,
Job.
exactly. And basically,
Yeah.
it was making a bet against God, so it became more of a rival, and at some point, it became an enemy. And the reason, like, at some point within, like, if you look at the progression, God is like the ultimate power, and there is no evil uh, counter to that. But eventually, through the influence of Iranian religions, we could see the invention of angels. We could see the polarization of the world into good and evil, the forces of good versus the forces of evil. These are all Iranian influence. And Judaism was very much influenced by Iranian religions because Iranians ruled over the Jews under two different dynasties, the Achaemenid dynasty and the Sassanid dynasty. So within Judaism, you see a lot of influence from Zoroastrianism and other
Yes.
Iranian influence.
Tobias Singer talks about this a lot. He talks about the differences, the different understandings of Satan between Judaism and Christianity. And he would also say that even with Job and the bet that Yahweh and Satan made, that he would say that God sent Satan to Job to test him. That he wasn't even the devil there; he was an angel of God doing God's bidding to test his subject. The way he said, the way the singer says it is that the way he sees it is that Satan provides free will. He is the evil incarnation, and he allows people to choose between good and evil, because without evil you can't have good. That's how he explains it. That's Satan's role.
Sorry, that's according to who?
Tobias Singer, Rabbi Tobias Singer.
Okay.
But by the way, guys, you know that the concept of hell comes from Iranian religions, right? That's like the Judaism didn't have a hell. The idea of hell comes into Christianity and other religions from Iran. So sorry about that. And angels come from the Iranian religions into Abrahamic religions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even within the within the Old Testament, you have the concept all the dead go to Sheol to await the day of judgment and resurrection. Even in the New Testament, you have that. You don't go to heaven when you die; you go to Sheol to await the day of resurrection and judgment, whereupon you will be resurrected and then judged, and either purified or thrown into the lake of fire.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the Jews weren't that important for a very, very long time until Abrahamism became a thing, and because it was rooted in Judaism, then the Jewish story became a big deal. But for most of history, like when Jews were in Israel, like the world was obsessed with the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Persian Empire. Like the Jews were just like a small little group of people in this corner of the empire that wasn't really that big of a deal, right? And the Jews were under the influence of Hellenization through the Greek and Roman and the Persian influence on the religion. And obviously, when you're a small group of people under these giant empires, you constantly are going to be influenced by them, right? The reason all of a sudden Jews became a central, their stories became so central globally, is because Constantine decided to make the religion of the Roman Empire to Christianity, and Christianity had came from Judaism, and now Jewish stories and Jewish,
Yes,
Jewish prophets became the stories of the greatest empire at that time, right?
but also when the Romans conquered Jerusalem, they made a big deal out of it. They the Arch of Titus was built, showing the. I'm sure you've seen that photo. You've seen that place. So he was showing they were very proud of the conquest of Jerusalem. They made a big deal out of it, and they also showed the stuff from the temple in Rome. They built a special thing and it was on show for a long time.
Yep, but they do that with every act of punishment against people who were rebelling. Like it's like it was part of their series of like, here's what we do to people who.
I don't know how many such monuments exist for other conquests.
Oh, Romans are
Yeah.
famous for documenting and self-congratulating themselves.
No, but
about
actually,
everything they did.
such a monument. I mean, I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm not
There-
saying they aren't. I just don't know.
yeah. No, there are. Yeah. But
No,
Asi, you
so
wanted to say?
yeah, I wanted about what you said. I actually wanted to say that some studies that I heard from Israeli professors, so go figure, maybe they are a little bit biased, but some studies says that Judaism in the Hellenic period actually broke out of Israel through Greece and it started being a thing in Greece because of the topic that we talked about before, because of all the written material and all the Talmud and all that, which gives a hell of a fight to a statue that some local shaman tells you about currently. Now you can take the religion and you can study and analyze it yourself. It's mind-blowing. It's a startup. So
a lot of the North African Jews have Greek roots of all sorts.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. So I think that it started to popularize and the Roman Empire that came with Christianity depressed it, but I think that it was a cheeky thing.
yes, it was. It was in North Africa. That's part of what today is like Moroccan Jews, Egyptian Jews, Algerian Jews, and so on.
It's true.
All right, guys.
Judaism actually became a big thing in the Greek world. You even had Greek converts. You had Greeks converting to Judaism.
Yes. Greeks and also North African people who were part of the Greek Empire. So they were Greek in culture, but they were not ethnically Greek. So a lot of
I think called they were known as the God-fearers. I think who were basically more or less along the lines of what you would call a Noahide and follow the 7 Noahide laws, which is actually a little different in the sense that you don't have to follow the dietary laws, you don't need to be circumcised, things like that. That's saved for the Jews specifically.
Yes, it's not clear. There's not a lot of information, but we definitely know through DNA and through what people found along the Mediterranean, on the southern Mediterranean. You can see the progress of Jewish buildings and so on, all the way to Morocco.
Yeah, even some Philistines converted to Judaism. And of course, even King David has some Philistines in his army.
That's likely. That's likely.
That was the thing, and of course, Israel. We know this. I mean, what used to be much bigger, Greater Israel, as it's called, which is really just biblical Judaism. I mean, biblical Israel was a lot bigger than the tiny little country you got today.
In the stories, we don't really know exactly what is meant by, I think it was like areas where they had all sorts of deals, but I don't know if they actually controlled them properly. Because how would you do it?
You can conquer it.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't know. I mean, we don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all very complicated. There were kings in Syria that had Jewish names with the Yahoo, ending, like Netanyahu, right?
That's true. And of course, Hebrews themselves were Canaanites. They emerged from within Canaan and became a dominant force from within. Of course, what we know is the Phoenicians. They're also Canaanites, or in the Samaritans.